Today we're going to talk about everything in threes and what that means and how we can use that simple phrase of everything in threes to examine our lives and what we're doing here, where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. My whole channel is basically, there are 3 crosses at Golgotha. There are 3 crosses in the heavens. We've all been crucified and born onto one of those crosses. To me, this life is death. I was more alive before I came into this body, and through near-death experiences, I'm more alive out of this body. So to me, I remember before I was born and coming into this body was like what people describe as dying. To me, the body is the tomb. It's the coffin. It's made of dirt. It is a grave, and I'm trapped inside of it. But we can get out. We can astral travel. But you need to do that very carefully, because when you're astral traveling, you're running on frequencies. We're in a current frequency now, and we can travel in one above us, the one we're on, or the one below us. All things in threes. And so you're either on earth, you're in heaven above, or hell below. To me, the mutable cross is the lowest cross. In alchemy, the mutable cross, let's do them in order. The mutable cross is where we're at, and it's where the transmutation occurs. The fixed cross, and then the cardinal cross. The adept, the master, the grand master. The fixed cross is the most important for humanity because it brings us to a place of stability. We've gone through the Nag Hammadi. I've showed you in the secret teachings of John in the Nag Hammadi where he's talking about the immovable race of humanity, the unshakable race of humanity, and that is the age of the fixed cross. In the circle, that fixed cross shows up 4 times. The mutable cross shows up 4 times, and the cardinal cross shows up 4 times. Now let's look at how this relates to other stuff. See if I can get this to click forward for me. Let me pause and get it working. Alright, they've used the same 3 crosses at Golgotha in the heavens and in alchemy to do the phone pad and our number system. You can even see the cross within it and the numbers that align to it. Now, my whole life, I have been attracted to different numbers. Growing up, I'm always attracted to 56. But I had a habit of, when I was younger, I would go to the dog tracks with my friends, and I would play lottery. And I always played 147. It never occurred to me the whole time I was doing that I was playing the 1 pillar of the phone dial. Everybody talks about 369. This would be the mutable, this would be the cardinal, and this would be the fixed in the middle. So 369, those famous Tesla numbers, are going to coordinate themselves with the cardinal cross. The 258, which is going to be the fixed cross, and the 147 as the mutable. Now, why I'm showing you this, because I got a lot of people on my channel that y'all are into the gematria, you're into the numbers and what all they do. And I've been involved with several channels that do these numbers. Now, the one that does the phone pad, his name is Ronald Mr. Tackpans. That's his channel. That's Tacpans, Ronald Mr. Tackpans. And he's done hundreds of videos about the foam pad and what all that means. A lot of it, I ain't gonna lie, it's over my head. He absolutely amazes me with what he's able to do with art and the numbers and the shapes. And he's very artistic. He paints his walls, floors, ceilings, everything around him is covered in art that he creates. He calls himself Raphael 7286 from the constellation of Pegasus. And I've actually done his birth chart a while back. And I went into Pegasus and I found star 7286 in the constellation of Pegasus. And he had no idea that star even existed. He had no idea why he was doing that or what 72 or 86 actually means, which are very important numbers. 72 is literally the sum of all things. 72 is an incredible number. 72 gives us the pentagram in the 360 degree circle divided by 5 is at 72 degrees each. If we had 8 days a week, 9 weeks a month, 5 months a year, we would have a perfectly 360 degree calendar. You add the 5 points on the star, will give you the 5 extra days. So it is the perfect calendar going to 8 days a week. Now, let's go ahead and move forward here. When in let me back up and say one thing. In gematria, in alchemy, in the ancient traditions, not what you're given today and not what you find on the internet. In original alchemy, it was linked to sigil magic. They were one and the same. And you have a name. Oops, I hate it when it does that. In sigil magic, you would get rid of all the vowels. Then if there are 2 letters side by side, one of them has to go. So with my name is LVT. And then what you do is you mimic it. And you mirror it upside down. And then you make this one image. You actually can make them connect. Right? And that would be the image right there. And that would be the sigil for my name. That's it right there. It would go. And that's what it would look like. Now, let me get this out of here and go to the next one. Again, you are looking at 3 crosses at Golgotha and 3 crosses in the heavens. There are 3 pillars, not 2. And we go through our lives in different ways, depending on where your planets are. So you have these 3 pillars. And they're on the mutable, the fixed, and the cardinal. Severity on the sun pillar, mercy on the moon pillar, and then straight up the middle. That's the combination of them, of the 2. Now, you see all these lines that run in different ways. Okay? You can do this to your birth chart. You take your birth chart and you find, where is my Mars? Which pillar is my Mars on? And you put it there. In the spot it's supposed to go in. You find where every planet is and you build your own. And you can actually look at it in this way and see the path for your life. Which way you're going. We're constantly going from severity to mercy when we need to be going straight up the middle. Then you'll know, okay, I have my Mars on the severity pillar and I have my Venus on the mercy pillar, right? And you can see at which one you need to balance. The mutable pillar is less. The cardinal pillar is what I call overkill. Too much of a good thing, right? Makes it a bad thing. We will never survive as humanity, we can never survive in a matriarch or a patriarch. The two must become one. We must eliminate patriarchal severity and make matriarchal and make them become one. And again, I encourage everybody to get a blank Kabbalah Tree of Life sigil and put your planets where you find them. Put them on the pillar that you find them in your natal chart. You can also do it for your Saturn returns so that you can see how your path changes as you grow. Speaking of Saturn returns, we look at them in threes. You're born is your natal chart. It's your Saturn position when you're born. Your Saturn position at your first Saturn return is your first Saturn return is your second Saturn exposure, and that is when you're 30 years old. You're 0 years old. These are approximates on the 30 because it's like 29 point years. And then your third exposure to Saturn on your second Saturn return. And you can do one for each. One for birth, one for first Saturn return, one for second Saturn return. And you can see how you've changed and grow, and your Mars moves from one pillar to the other. The thing is to get them all in the center pillar. So you can go to the crown chakra. Does any of that make sense to any of you? How all of these things are connected? Write down, see how they did the phone pad. They could have done this anyway. I mean, when we first had the phone, it was circle, right? It was a circle. So this is how they squared the circle. It's like in the compass and square. The compass is the feminine part. When you use a compass, it makes a circle. You hold down the protractor in one and you turn the other and it makes a circle. And then you have the square, which makes the right angle square. Same thing. Again, when we look at this without the connecting lines, we're looking at the battle of fire and ice. And same thing with the pillar. We can do the same thing there. When we say the sun pillar would be fire, and the moon pillar is water, because the sun rules fire and light, and the moon pillar rules water. So same thing. There's always three. The thing is to bring them together. You have the cold water and the hot heat. When you bring them together, you get warm, palatable water. Too much heat, the water boils. It evaporates. Alchemical process. This is what's going on here. Humanity is in a alchemical process of consciousness. It's not so much about the body as it is about the consciousness, because it's trapped within the body. Here we must learn how to survive, overcome the body. The body is the grave. It's made of dirt. It's dead. When you leave the body, it ceases to be animated. When your soul and your consciousness leave the body, it is then considered dead, an inanimate object. But you are the anima in it. You are what animates it. Consciousness. You have our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and our higher mind. You have the same in the planetary system. Saturn rules the crown chakra, and after Saturn you have Uranus, which is the conscious mind. You have Neptune, which is the imagination. And you have Pluto, which is the subconscious mind. the three states, all thing in threes. The creative part of that is the imagination, the one in the middle. It would be Neptune, right up the middle, to where Pluto would be on the moon pillar and Uranus would be on the sun pillar. Same thing. Saturn should be on the sun pillar and Jupiter on the moon pillar, when in actuality Jupiter works with the sun and the moon because they rule fire, to where Saturn rules no fire and no water. Saturn rules heaven and earth. He rules Malkuth and the crown, the beginning and the end. The Malkuth to the Kepher, which is what the same Kepher is. The KFR is what's written on the forehead of the Dajjal, Kafir. I call it the spirit of fear. They call it Kafir, but it's written on the head. It's a mark on his head. Okay, we got a ruckus outside. I need to pause here. I don't know what the neighbors are doing.